Villagers, thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. Who has succeeded in making sure that we are separated? And after we have realized the problem or the cause of our problem, why are we still separated today? Why don't we think that when one nation has something, it belongs to all of us? So for that matter, we need to patronize that. We heard that some few days ago, the World Bank was on the neck of Dangote. But finally, Dangote has responded to World Bank by telling World Bank that no matter what the situation might be, Africa will not suffer because they have the capacity to supply oil to all parts of Africa. That when you look at some countries, they have like 3 days, 4 days left. But no matter the situation will be, Africa will not suffer. This Middle East war is a lesson to all of us in Africa. IMF is also crying that this war, crying and warning all of us that no matter what, things will not be still. Prices of things will continue to increase. And if this war did not end as soon as possible, and even if it ends, we'll still suffer the more. But fortunately, Dangote is here, even though we'll feel the heat, but it wouldn't be like the way they projected Africa to be. Like one time, the Zambia president asked, why should we have oil just in Nigeria, yet we'll be spending millions of dollars to import oil from the Arabian Sea? Who has done this to us? Why is it that even up to date, the African cannot unite? And we say it is you, the leaders.
What I can do is to assure Nigerians, first of all, here, and most of West Africa and Central Africa, East Africa, we have the capacity to supply them, and then we also have capacity to do polypropylene, which is in a very, very high demand and then very scarce because of what is happening in the Middle East. So I think we've seen now the use of the refinery, because without this refinery, some African countries, really as we speak right now, they have 5 days, 6 days of queues, and a lot of countries are even saying that no, work from home. We don't have that situation here in Nigeria, and we'll never really have that kind of situation. So in high production, our capacity now is at full capacity, 650,000 barrels per day. Biggest challenge is also to do with shipping. You cannot find ships. Freight has gone up 4 times. And, these are things that are out of our own control. Also the crude prices, only God knows, what they are going to be, can be $150 or more. The only thing is that we can look at other areas of mitigating these issues. In fact, maybe with logistics, we'll come out with something that can actually help mitigate the suffering of, Nigerians. There has been actually a lot of support from NNPC. Last month, I think we got, almost about, they gave us 6 cargos for Naira and 4 cargos for dollars. They've done very well, really. They've given us 10 cargos. And I want to use this medium to really thank them for the cooperation. And they are going to look at giving us more cargos as we go forward.
Why do we have to buy oil from the Middle East? We're just your neighbors here. I'm sure my nephew, when he was looking for a wife, maybe he was even crossing the river, illegally there. But to put a liter of fuel in a car, imagine it's coming from not this ocean here, from the Arabian Sea. What is it that have separated us all along? So as you find oil and gas, I said to my cabinet, let's go there and be on the ground floor and talk to our colleagues so that we don't have to rely on oil and gas from such a faraway place.
The Zambian president also urged Namibia to join his country in its bid to utilize oil from Angola.
Exploring for oil and gas. But we never utilize Angolan oil. And I was in Angola 2 months ago. We don't want to miss that opportunity with you. So you have a partner in us, you have a friend in us.
Hishelema says the SADC region is endowed with minerals needed to produce electric vehicles and called on the two countries to team up.
This is the time to organize ourselves properly. This is not for Zambia and Congo. This is for us, Namibia included. We organize ourselves properly, we will then be able to transform our economies in a revolutionary way.
Nigeria may have just changed the game of energy, not only in Africa, but for the rest of the world. Aliko Dangote, Africa's richest businessman, is now announcing that he's going to go on a full IPO for the Dangote oil refinery, Africa's largest oil refinery. The thing processes over 600,000 of barrels of crude every single day, and right now, they're aiming for an ambitious mark of 1.4 million. That's enough fuel to change the entire game of energy dynamics within the continent. And here's the big part. That demand is not just coming from Africa, but from all over the world. Because of the whole Iran crisis going on, so many different countries, especially those in Europe, are now looking to Nigeria as a key oil alternative supplier. So people start asking the obvious question. If everybody across the world wants in on this refinery, why don't everyday Nigerians and Africans have some kind of stake of ownership in the refinery itself? So Dangote heard everybody's wishes, and he's now announcing that he's going to be flipping the script. He's now planning a pan-African IPO for the refinery. That means he's going to be listing the refinery across several different African stock exchanges at once, from Nigeria to Kenya to South Africa and beyond. Meaning everyday Africans with just a little bit of money in their wallets could invest some part of ownership within this refinery. This has never been done on the continent ever, so this is a huge game changer for Africa's capital markets. Shares drop in the next few months. If it goes through, ordinary Africans could literally have ownership over the refinery that's turning the continent into a global energy giant. This isn't just an IPO. This is actually a blueprint for how African wealth can stay in Africa.
But again, why do we need to import the oil from Middle East when we have crude oil all over the continent? Actually, Aliko Dangote has one of the largest.
Not one of the largest.
Yeah.
He has the largest in the world oil refinery.
Yeah.
And in the second urea globally refinery. It's him, and it's here in Africa. And
in
that's
Africa, why do we need to?
It's deals.
Yeah.
So let me explain how it works. You had things like G2G, which is government to government and stuff like that.
Yes.
Let me tell you how it works. Let's assume there is a construction contract in Kenya, right? Where we have the government building what you call affordable housing.
Sure.
The normal process that such things are supposed to take is supposed to be, we need to gazette the process. We need to allow people to bid on the process, and then those kind of jobs are supposed to be given to the lowest bidder. Of course, looking at the fact of production, quality of production, but you're supposed to give that to the lowest bidder. Does it happen in our case?
Not at all.
Even when the government gazettes this particular contract,
for formality,
it's just for formality purposes, because already someone somewhere has already been given, but so that it goes through the process and no one will be able to sue the government and stuff like that, for formality purposes, but they already know who the contract belongs to. If you look at it from that point of view, there are already people that are capitalizing from import of not only oil, import of oil, import of medical facilities, import of drugs, which most of the time you notice that the drugs called generics, import of unnecessary things that we can actually produce here locally in Kenya. And so by looking at it from that view, you get to see why we end up importing from unnecessary locations. For example, if we have the biggest oil refinery here in Africa, why would Africa be affected? Let me narrow it down to even Kenya. Why would Kenya be affected by Middle East? What is happening in Middle East as pertaining oil? Why should Kenya be affected if the biggest oil refinery is in Africa?
Why should it be so that we have this ABC in the continent yet we'll continue to be looking outside? We import these things very expensive in the continent, yet if African Union was a serious organization, they could have even empowered Dangote or even have our own refinery in the name of Africa that would use the oil so that we can supply ourselves. He talks about how shipping is going to be a problem because we are not making sure that we make the continent a global village for ourselves, whereby we can easily enter into these countries. The borders that are here, we keep on making sure, like Julius Maada Bio said, protect them. Because it serves, or they serve, the interests of other people and not the African. Our leaders are crying because there's a situation that we think that with this thing that is happening in the world, we will learn. But our leaders are still repeating the same mistakes. And that is why we are seeing these same leaders inviting these people into the continent and signing agreements with them, calling it historic security pact, making sure that if this country is not helping, like we are seeing Botswana doing, now uranium that they used to get from Niger is no longer going. And Botswana said, I am here to do the supply in the name of partnership deals. These deals are what are keeping the African backwards. These are the things that are not making us to unite and free ourselves from the chains. We are ready to make sure we continue to see ourselves as different people, and people are using that as an advantage against the African. Dangote is here. Now we are seeing the importance of Dangote because prices of oil from the places we used to get and we believe that they have the best, the standard, aren't coming anymore. Even the European Union or the Europeans who came out and told us that this oil wasn't their standard now are looking for the oil because now there is trouble. We have made everything of the African to be the standard of other people. We go by what other people say and not what we think is best for us. This is a lesson to all of us, the youth. We need not to follow our leaders. And what pains so much is the youth who still believe in these political parties that are allowing the politicians to continue to use us to achieve their interests. Because the youth that need to come together to see the situation of the country and the continent to be their problem, for us to unite to fight are the same people who still be following these politicians, spreading propaganda just because they belong to one particular party or the other. Africans, nobody will come here to change anything. If we don't start seeing everything that we have here to be of value. They told us that everything of ours is not good. And this is the narrative we are growing up with. And we'll continue to be with this kind of narrative if we are not ready to change our approach to doing things. Everything of the black person is good. We must not allow people to set standards for us. We must not follow the script that is written by other people. We need to start doing things on our own, valuing the things that we have, instead of buying from people to make them rich. Stop these deals that you do with these people. These are the things that are making the African poorer. The resources will always suffer when we continue to be having these kind of deals with people who are not chasing the unification of the continent. And if Africa will become a better place, it is you and I that can cause the change. If you are new here, this is the latest Gen 1, a Pan-African platform. Here I share educative content whereby you and I can unite to free the continent and to emancipate ourselves. If you like what I do, you can subscribe to become a member, share, like, and hit the notification button to receive new updates each time I upload a video. And those of you who want to support the work that I am doing, my PayPal link is in my bio. And all those who have been supporting me, I just want to say a special thank you for the love you are showing to me. I appreciate you for appreciating what I am doing. United we stand, divided we fall, and united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's decolonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we'll make Africa great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world, in Africa, West Africa, and in Nigeria.